You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Yes, the immortal line. Well, a bit earlier, I spoke to the film's producer, Michael Deeley, and the author, Matthew Field. Now, Matthew Field has just published a book about the film, and I began by asking him why he thought it had such lasting appeal.
Well, most people started off their television viewing by watching this picture on Boxing Day afternoons, which went on year after year after year.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he saw it at the age of 4.
Yeah.
And it just built. And the reason it built was because it's happy. And happy is worth a lot.
Certainly is, but wasn't it, I mean, it wasn't a flop when it came out, of course it wasn't, but it didn't do very well, did it?
It was very disappointing. It was better here than it was in America. In America, it was a disaster. It did nothing. And financed by Paramount, you can imagine. We were surprised.
The potential trouble you was in. So Matthew, you saw it at the age of 4, and now we've got this wonderful book celebrating this 50th anniversary, the Self-Preservation Society. The title is self-explanatory. Why then did it become something of an obsession for you?
It was the first film I ever saw. It was the first film my dad showed me, and it was the first film to enter my consciousness. I just fell in love with it the minute I saw it.
What stands out? What did the 4-year-old Matthew see in it that made it stick in his mind?
The minis. It had to be the minis. You know, Michael Caine's so great, but at that age I didn't appreciate him. It was the minis.
The red, white and blue minis. And producer then, Michael, why do you think it's endured these, you know, I bet you didn't imagine 50 years ago that you'd be sitting here in many studios talking about this great film.
That is absolutely correct. I love the film because it was a very film to make. It was a very happy film to make, and it's sort of earned its long legs by being happy, as people have seen them at the age of 4, and every Boxing Day afternoon, this picture would play. So people saw it as parents as well as children, and it just stuck in. And once it was lodged in everybody's heart, it was pretty safely put away. Also, to stop it being Alfie 2, we wanted the sort of curious weight of a former major filmmaker, which Noel Coward was, and was pretty well unknown at that time on the screen in '69. And he brought to it a sort of another generation of humour. Other than that, of course, bringing in the major stars, who were television stars at the time, of Fred Emney.
And you had Simon D in there, of course.
Simon D was in there.
Talk show host, wasn't he?
Yes.
Jonathan Ross at his time.
It really just switched the film onto what it should be.
Tell me, Matthew, about putting the book together itself. Sadly, you know, a lot of the people, and the book looks at every aspect of this film. Sadly, some of the people involved have now passed away. They're no longer with us. You must have taken a long time assembling this. There's a lot of photographs, a lot of stories in there that nobody's ever heard about the film.
Well, I've been working on this book on and off for the last 20 years. I did a version of this in 2001 when I just finished my A-levels. So after that came out, when I first started, you didn't have the research methods we had with the internet now back in the year 2000. So since then, many people have come out of the woodwork who worked on the film and have come on board to help me, opened up their archives. Michael, of course, his photograph albums. I've also been lucky to have the help of the families of the late screenwriter, Troy Kennedy Martin, and Peter Collinson, the director. And I've just had this host of photographs come my way, production documents that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, brilliant. And what about the stunts, though, Michael? I mean, particularly the jumping stunt. How difficult were they to film?
Not difficult to film. That wasn't the problem. They were rehearsed on the flat, so that if they couldn't make the jump work, then they would have to find some other way of doing it or some other place to do it. But they could make the distance, they could make the leap. The issue is only one of would they? And that's where the difficulty started, for me at any rate, because anything could go wrong. With a foot could slip off the clutch, something could fake in one of the cars, or anything. And I was given the information that I would be held responsible if anybody was hurt.
Let me bring in Brexit, because, of course, this was all shot while Britain was negotiating to join the then common market. The 50th anniversary occurring while Britain is negotiating to leave what became the European Union. I mean, is it a film for our times?
Well, as Michael writes in the introduction, you know, it's it's the perfect Brexit movie, whatever your view. As you said, it was written as a reaction to us going into the common market. It was a satire of that whole debate. And here we are 50 years later having the same discussion.
I mean, well, what is it? I mean, is it a Brexit film, though, Michael? I mean, the title, I mean, the song that sticks out, the Self-Preservation Society. Is this about a nation that can stand on its own 2 feet without the European?
That is a view widely held, yes. and anyway, it's not just that simple. It's also us against them. We're the island with the lads, and they're the other people. So we're going to Italy as a football group to beat them out. And that's what the movie was about.
But it doesn't work out
another way, can't you?
It doesn't work out for them. You know, there they are left at the end, dangling in the bus over the cliff. So, is it, what is it saying? It's. I think it raises the question. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
We didn't actually put 39 billion pieces of gold in the back of the truck.
Only 4 million, isn't it?
Well, but whatever. This
Probably worth about 39 million. Well, you bring me to the end there. That cliffhanger with the coach dangling over the cliff, and this jeopardy. That the closer they get to the gold, the more likely they are to tip it over the cliff, and then the film ends. Michael, can you tell us what happens?
Up to that point, when he turns around and says, "Hang on a moment, I'm not going to try it. Hang on a minute, fellas, I've got a great idea." That's all. That's where the script story had to end. The truth was, we didn't have that ending. We shot that in Twickenham Studios, the interior of Twickenham Studios, after the film was over. I went back to Hollywood towards the end of shooting to talk to Paramount, to Bob Evans, who was very nice, very good head of production there, and said, "We've got these 3 stories which are in offices and they're talkies, and they're dull, they're downers." And when I was in the plane, I thought of the word, I swear to God, it just came, cliffhanger. And that's where we got the ending from. They saw, as I intended they should, that if we had a successful film, we'd have a sequel. So I told them how the sequel would open up, because I worked that out in order to pitch it, really. And they said, "You got it." And so I went back and we shot it.